Is she suing you for...
Two more squeaks. Two more squeaks. Two more squeaks. Two more squeaks.
If Dr. Murphy had been a not nice person and just driven on, you'd be dead, and his career wouldn't hang in the balance.
Objection calls for speculation.
Not a
I
lot.
hope y'all enjoyed that intro. Normally, I wouldn't do it for this series, but it was inside my head. But anyway, guys, welcome to another edition of the Audition, where I give shows that I view a certain chance to become a mainstay on the channel. Today, I'll be going over a regular watch of mine, The Good Doctor, which comes on ABC. But this episode in particular is pivotal as it seems to be an introduction and pilot to a new spinoff called The Good Lawyer. And that's what I was hoping for by the end of this episode. I really like this episode. I was like, dang, this seems like a spinoff. I hope this is like a new show coming or something like that. But anyway, guys, remember, if you like this review, please smash the like button as it increases the chances of the show becoming a regular on the channel. So let's get into it with some quick highlights and recap. To those of you who are new to the Good Doctor universe, it revolves around Dr. Sean Murphy, a very gifted surgeon who happens to be autistic. In this episode, Sean is facing his first lawsuit, and I think I must have fell asleep towards the end of the last episode because I'm like, what the hell is going on? Because I'm like, wait a minute, he's getting sued. But then I went back and looked at it, and I missed the last few minutes of last episode where he got served at the end of the episode. But we find more about the plaintiff later. He's faced to either settle and be under supervisor period, which he begrudgingly accepts from his lawyer, Miss Stewart here, who becomes a very important character to the new series. And he accepts this until he meets his seemingly female counterpart. Her name is Joni, who has OCD and keeps herself closed off in his closet, as you can see here. Very reminiscent to Sean when he wanted his own space. I think he was staying like in a custodial room or something like that in the hospital until they gave him his own room. But another parallel between the two is the mentorship between Sean and Dr. Glassman. And later it seems like Joni and Miss Stewart is pretty much her mentor in that series that's going to be able to come. And they seem to have somewhat of a mother-daughter relationship. Definitely when we get towards the end of the episode. So very close parallel between Sean Murphy and Joni here. But anyway, after introducing herself to Sean, she convinces him to let her take his case, which in turn meant that she took the case from her boss. Not a good way to move up the ladder, Joni. This also pisses off Dr. Glassman, as well as Sean finds out during his conversation with Leah. Sidebar, y'all, I still strongly believe Sean. I know we are in season, was it 5 or 6? And it's been passed, but I still think Sean should have chose Carla, man. I think he made the wrong choice. But anyway, back at Joni's place, where she stays with her sister. Hopefully we get more backstory on how they came together, as it's obviously they're not blood sisters. But anyway, they kind of show the big hurdle that she faces as, okay, if Joni is distracted by, simple things, with her OCD, how is she gonna manage in court? And we see a few moments of this where this becomes a hindrance, such as the scene where she asked Sean and Dr. Part about the accident that they ran upon, and which basically Sean, he had to amputate the guy's hand, because he flew from the ambulance into the woods and he dragged him out. And the question is whether, Sean did something to cause him more harm than good. But anyway, she does this thing where she has to tap her hand on the desk, which that becomes kind of annoying, and it distracts Dr. Park from telling his story. But this is also where we see her gift, as she's very perceptive and her attention to detail is God tier. We also have a similar scene to, how Sean, when he has these aha moments and you have the detailed imagery that pops from his head to the screen. But with here, she creates a scene in her head, almost like entering another reality, I guess you could say. So in her recreation of the events, she tells Sean that his memory is wrong of him dragging out the man thrown from the car into the woods, which creates doubt and possibility that Sean may have been responsible for malpractice. During the break, Joni and Stewart go back to their quarters After having a conversation, once again, the OCD kicks in where she has this need to reorganize the books that are kind of out of place on the bookshelf. So at this point, like, how is Joni going to go through a court hearing if she's distracted by things like hand tapping and books being out of place? But this book was actually a blessing in disguise, as you know, this pointed her towards some type of legal precedent that she could use in the court case. So day of court, we finally get to see who is suing Dr. Murphy. As you can see, Mr. Nubs right here with no hand. Joni is well prepared and everything seems to be going right until the opposing attorney sits back in a chair, creating a squeaking sound, which puts Joni, I guess, in this trance until she hears the chair squeak 3 times. You can constantly hear that going off in her head, but it never happens, and Joni basically blacks out. She takes a huge L, embarrasses the firm, and this leads to her being taken off the case by the partners, but Sean, still being reluctant and still wants her on the case, demands that she stays, so they keep her on. With another shot at redemption, Joni goes into the next day of court and is doing pretty well in questioning and actually turning the narrative against the plaintiff here until the chair squeaks again. And this time, I think the attorney does it on purpose. Then Stewart goes over to the chair to rock it back and forth so it can squeak 3 times, and Joni gets back on track, even though Miss Stewart is held in contempt and she's fined like $5,000. But it was well worth it, man. Miss Stewart, you are the MVP of this episode. Anyway, after this, we have Sean give his testimony of events, and basically her angle is to make the jury see him in a good light, which she successfully does, as he's found innocent of any malpractice. We also get to another flashback. We saw one early in the episode as well, Miss Stewart, and basically, I guess, reuniting with her birth mother, I guess, or something like that. And Miss Stewart was representing her mother in this case. So she's been with her for a long time. And we also, we flash forward to the two of them sitting together, and it just looks like they're, becoming even more close. And it seems like the beginning of a mother-daughter relationship, so to say. But it's exactly like Dr. Glassman and Sean, in a sense. But anyway, the team celebrates at the bar. We get one last scene with Joni and Sean, but as but is this the last we will see of these two? I don't know. Will the shows cross over again? Probably. But one thing I do know is I enjoyed the episode and this low-key spinoff, and would like to see the Good Lord fleshed out into its own series whenever it does debut. That will do it for today's audition, guys. If you want more of the Good Doctor and Good Lawyer added to the TV review roster, make sure to hit that thumbs up, provide your feedbacks in the comments, and just depending on the performance of this video and maybe other videos I decide to do, it'll probably get added to the channel. But this is definitely a show I do recommend, another one I do like watching. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think. This has been another edition of The Audition. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.